Hi, it's Jan Johnson, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really glad that you did. And over the past couple of days, we've talked about the difference between a business person and a job holder, and then we talked about failing and the importance of understanding that you really have to fail on your way to success, or it's most probable that people who are successful have failed on their way to success. And today what I want to talk about is change and training. A lot of times people who come into network marketing are apprehensive of change. They come in, they want to, but they're apprehensive of it. And maybe even they're not really ready for training. And I know that I sucked it all up when I first came in. For some reason, I happened to, in this arena, be astute enough to know that even though I was an executive at IBM, I knew nothing about network marketing, and I just was a sponge. I went to everything and tried to learn everything that I could in the process of getting around the network marketing arena. And I think it's so important to understand that for success in this arena, you have to learn how to be a business person and understand what it takes to have that kind of training. I'm not talking about the training that your company gives you on the products or holding your meetings and doing the presentation, so to speak. And that, of course, is important. But what I'm talking about is training in and of itself about being a business person, about how to go about and understand that you're going to have the success and failures that I've talked about, previously. And if you follow me, understand going through that, about setting goals and then learning what you have to do to back into those goals and analyzing your data to see what has worked for you and what needs to work for you. Also talk about the standpoint, or understand the standpoint from learning your business and being trained on old school methods of network marketing versus new school methods of network marketing. And I have to happen to believe that both are important. That's why I talk about telling stories. It's important telling stories, whether through the internet, which obviously I'm doing, or if you're in front of a group of people. Learning how to have social media and not be spamming in the Facebook arena, for example, is something that's very important. And if you don't learn the tools of the trade, if you don't study and are afraid of change, no matter if you've been in network marketing forever but are afraid of change of the new ways, then you're not going to have the ultimate success that I know you're hoping to have. And there's a little story that I heard one time about this guy who was a Fuller Brush salesman. And his specialty was the vacuum sweepers. And he would go door to door to door. He was the top salesman in that arena. And he would knock on the door, the housewives would come to the door, and he would show and demonstrate the vacuum sweeper where you just push the push sweeper around and how it pick everything up on the hardwood floor or the new wall-to-wall carpeting kind of thing. And he was the be-all, end-all in that arena. And he got recruited away then because things were changing with Fuller Brush to go to, I think, Hoover or something, let's just say. And times had changed. And they had a battery-powered vacuum. And they thought, oh my gosh, we're getting this guy, we're going to be putting in the stores, but we know that if you can get into the homes of people, this guy's going to be awesome. And so they sent with him assigned a person, to help him at first. But he said, no, I know how to do this. I've been doing it for years. I'm number one, for crying out loud. I can do this. And at the end of a week or 2 weeks or whatever, after 50 demonstrations, he had not sold a single solitary battery-powered Hoover vacuum. And so now the president of the company was getting a little worried because he's the one that sold everybody on this guy, was all proud from having recruited him away from Fuller Brush. So he insisted and went with him on a demonstration. And he said, I'm going to do it, you watch me. Begrudgingly, the guy, arms crossed, goes in. And so he goes in, he turns it on, and the very first thing the Fuller Brush person says, and you can probably see this coming, is, what's that sound? Obviously, he didn't get attuned to the tools of his trade. Hadn't even turned it on, hadn't sold a vacuum. And so it's very important. That was kind of obvious, but I'm trying to set this in your mind here. It might not seem obvious to you, but it's important that you stay on top of things, that you continually train, learn, read, and therefore you can be a better example to the people that are on your team or that you bring into the business. If this video helped you, and I sure hope it did, please comment and share. Thanks so much for tuning in.